Delta sharing provides a secure and efficient way to share data between different Databricks environments, even across cloud providers. In this video, I'm going to show you how we can architect Delta sharing solution between two Databricks environments hosted on Azure and AWS cloud providers. So let's get started. If you're new to this channel, please click on the subscribe button and toggle on the bell icon to be informed of new videos. For this demonstration, I'm going to be using two accounts, one for the provider organization which is hosted on Azure Databricks and another for the recipient organization which is hosted on AWS Databricks. Now, I'm going to be using two browsers for the implementation of this solution. Now, in the provider organization, I'm going to ingest sales CSV files into the volume that I'm going to create in the unit catalog of the provider organization. Then I'm going to create a table and use the copy into command to copy the data from the volume we're going to create into a Delta table and schedule the SQL query. Next, I'm going to set up a Delta sharing on the provider organization side by creating a Delta sharing share. Then I'm going to create recipient and grant the necessary permission. Now, to achieve this, I'm going to generate the recipient identifier from the recipient organization browser. Afterwards, I'm going to access the data from the recipient shared with me tab. I'm going to create a catalog on top of the shared data, build a dashboard, and schedule the dashboard. Finally, I'm going to load more data into the provider volumes that we're going to create and check the dashboard on the recipient or the receiver side in order to see if it updates or not. So let's get started. This is my Databricks workspace, which is hosted on Microsoft Azure, which I'm going to be using as the provider organization in this project. First, we need to enable the Delta sharing from the metastore of the provider and the recipient organization in order to be able to implement this solution. Now, how do we implement it? It's super straightforward. Now, from Microsoft Azure Databricks, I'm going to click on whatever is the name of my workspace, and then I'm going to see this manage accounts. Now, in the case if you're unable to see this manage account, I'm going to produce another video in the future that's going to show you how you can create an external user from your Gmail or whatever is your email address from the Entra ID in order to be able to authenticate and access the account console of Databricks on Microsoft Azure. Now, for now, if you're able to see this, just click on this manage account, and that's going to take you to another tab, which is the account.azuredatabricks.net. Now, I'm going to click on catalog. We can see workspaces, usage, and so on and so forth. But we want to focus on the catalog where the metastore is actually embedded. So we can see a metastore is a top level container for catalog in Unity Catalog. Within the metastore, Unity Catalog provides a 3-level namespace for organizing data, which are the catalog, schema, which is also known as databases, and then the table of views. Now, we have this prod Databricks metastore already created. I'm going to click on that, and then we can see the allow Delta sharing with parties outside your organization. So I'm going to toggle this on, and then we can set the expiration date. I can use 90 days or whatever, and then I'm going to provide a meaningful name for the organization. I'm going to call this one provider organization for easy, and click on enable. And then we can see all the details, which include the Delta sharing recipient token lifetime, organization name, and the workspace assignments. Now I'm going to come to the other browser, which is going to be my recipient organization. Now this is Databricks Express, which is hosted on AWS. Now, how to enable the Delta sharing? I'm going to try to come to this SQL warehouses and then click on this create SQL warehouses. Now, this is what I figure out in order to be able to access the account console. So I'm going to click on this upgrade, and a new tab is going to be open for me, similar to this, but I'm going to just press back here. Now I'm going to use this, and then we can see the catalog. So click on that, and then we can see Metastore is hosted on AWS EU West 1 region. So click on that, and I'm going to enable the Delta sharing with parties outside our organization. I'm going to call this on receiver.org_org receiver. and then I'm going to click on enable. So we've enabled the data sharing across the provider and the recipient organization, which is really cool. I'm going to come back to the provider, and in the provider organization, I want to go to the catalog, and then I want to create a special catalog for this. Click on create a catalog. Now I'm going to call this one sales external catalog. And then for the type, this is going to be a standard. And then for the storage location, now my metastore is actually connected to a container in my storage account, which is named metastore, and then I can see the name of my storage account. So I'm not going to create any external location because that's going to be the external location anyway, based on the settings that I've got already. So I'm going to click on create. And then in a matter of seconds, the catalog is provisioned. So I'm just going to click on this and choose the next and click on save. So that is saved. Now, within this sales external catalog, I'm going to click on this create schema. And I'm going to call this one sales schema. And then I'm going to click on create. And then we want to create a volume. Now, a volume is basically a managed or external storage location within a schema used to store non-tagged data such as files, logs, or images alongside structured data assets. So I'm going to click on this create, and you can see create a volume. I'm going to call this on sales underscore volume, and then we can choose either the managed or external types. Now, managed simply means when we delete the volume, all the data, the files, and the metadata will be deleted automatically. But an external simply means when we delete, even as far as we've deleted in the Databricks ecosystem, the metadata is still hosted externally. So I'm going to go with this manage and click on create. So that's created, super easy. Now I want to upload to the newly created volume, and I want to bring this sales 2015 to 2017 CSV, and I can overwrite files if the same name exists, and then click on upload. So we can see all the three files are now uploaded, which is really cool. Now we want to create a table. So I'm going to come to the SQL editor, and then I want to click on this plus sign to create a new editor. So new. And then I'm going to use this code to create a table within the sales external catalog that we already created. So I'm going to choose down first the name of the catalog and then the name of the sales schema. Our table is going to be named transaction underscore data, and then we're going to have this other date region subcategory product and the sales with the appropriate data types that matches the structure of the data in our CSV files. So I can go on and run this create command. So in a matter of seconds, this is going to be created. Now we're going to be using the copy into command. So for that, I'm going to use this code. We have the copy into transaction underscore data table created at the top, and then this is going to be coming from the volume path. So how do we get the volume path? I'm going to come back to the sales external schema, and then the catalog, and then go to the schema, sales schema, and then we can see the volume. Now we've got three CSV files. We are not picking one, but all the files. This simply means I'm going to come to this kebab, which sometimes we call it the ellipsis, the vertical one, copy it, and then want to copy the volume path. So inside this single quote, I'm going to just select carefully and paste. So this is going to be the location that we are copying from into this table. And then the file format is a comma separated value CSV. And then for the format options, we have the header equals true. You can see we are inferring the schema, which is also set to true. So I can run this copy into command, click on selected cells, run selected cells, and in a matter of seconds, this should be ready. Cool. 60 rows is now copied into the transaction table. Now I'm going to click or type in select star from transaction, and I can put in a semicolon and run this select star from transaction table, and then we can see all our data. Absolutely magical. Now we've prepared our data. Now we can go on and start sharing with the external organization. So I'm going to come to this catalog, and then I'm going to click on this Delta sharing. So I'm going to come to the shared by me. We have two things, shared with me when we receive from external organization, but when we are sharing with other people. So I'm going to come to this tab, and I love to create my recipient first. So click on this create new recipient, and I'm going to call this on external recipient. You can use a meaningful name in the production, you just have to use a wonderful name. Now, for the recipient type, I'm going to stick with this Databricks because the recipient is actually hosted on Databricks intelligence platform also. Now, I'm going to show you a video in the future how we can use this open, but for now, I'm going to stick with this. Now, it is important to fetch the sharing identifier of the recipient organization. So I'm going to come to this browser, and then I can go to this tab, I can come to the catalog, and I can click on the Delta sharing, and I can see that here, receiver organization. So copy sharing identifier, come back here, and I'm going to paste. And as soon as that is pasted, I'm going to scroll a little bit, and then we can see that the Delta sharing recipient is located in a different cloud provider. So this can incur increased egress cost. Now, the egress cost refers to the charges incurred for transferring data out of one cloud provider's region or a platform. So I'm going to just stick with all of these. Now we can see this really important information. So this is the provider account, which is hosted on Azure Metastore cloud provider, and you can see the Metastore region is provisioned in the UK South region. And then for the recipient, we have the AWS as the Metastore cloud, and this is hosted in the EU West 1 region. So this is what's called a multi-cloud Delta sharing, which is really the core part of this video. So I'm going to click on this create, and then that is created. So we can see this warning outside of cloud, and this can increase egress cost. So I'm just going to, I'm not going to worry about that. Now I want to come back to the Catalog Explorer, click on the Delta sharing again, and then go to the shared by me, and I want to create a share, and I'm going to call this one sales data as the share name. I can put in a comment, but I'm going to disregard, click on save and continue. Now for the add data asset, I'm going to come to the sales external catalog, expand the sales schema, expand the table object, select the transaction table. You can see that this is populated, and this is a type named table. You can see the name would follow the two namespace, the name of the schema, the name of the catalog, the name of the schema, the name of the three tables. So this is the three namespace, and then I can click on save and continue. So I can of course add a notebook, but I'm not going to do that here. So click on save and continue. And then I'm going to choose the external recipient we created and click on share data. So when I click on that, now I'm going to come back here for the last time, click on this, go to the share by me, go to the recipient, external recipient, and then we're going to grant the share. So this is going to be the final thing in order for them to be able to see it in the other side. Now I'm going to click on this, and this might take a while. So what I figured out is to refresh your browser and just wait for a couple of seconds, maybe 10 seconds, go back to the grant share, click on this. Now we should be able to see this data share we created. Click on grant, and that is done. Now let's come here and check the receiver organization or the recipient. Now I'm going to refresh in order for this to sync in now, because this is a multi-cloud. Now this might take a while in order for you to see it. So I'm going to come to this shared with me, and of course that is embedded underneath this Cornerstone Analytics. Don't worry about that. Click on this, and then I can see the sales data, and then we can see the properties. So now this is actually showing on the 5th of May, but that's not the date. Now I'm going to click on this create catalog, and then I'm going to call this one sales external catalog. And or let me just call this one to click on create. So this catalog is now created. Now I'm just going to cancel this, and let me come back to the catalog, and then we should be able to see the sales external catalog 2. Click on that, and then we can expand, and then we can see the sales schema, and then we can see the transaction underscore table. So this is created. Now we can say this workspace has restricted network access. It takes up to 10 minutes before the assets are queryable in this recipient organization. So I'm going to click on this refresh table. This shouldn't take up to 10 minutes. Now I can see under the overview, I can see the list of the columns and the data types. Now I want to come to the sample data, and I'm going to of course select a servlet starter warehouse in order to be able to see the data. So this is spinning up. Once this is kicked off, I should be able to see the data in a matter of seconds. So there we go. So this is now fully ready. And let's wait. We should be able to see the data coming from the provider organization. Now, don't forget, we uploaded since 2015, 16, and 17 into the volume we created. So we can see we have this since 2015, and then when I go to the bottom, we can see up to 2017. Now, let me just try to, filter. I'm going to type in 2018. Now, this is not going to show anything, but when I do 2017, I can see 2017 here, which is cool because we uploaded 3 years data. Now, this is wonderful. Now, we want to create our AI BI dashboard on top of this externally shared data with us. So I'm going to click on the dashboards, and in dashboard, I'm going to click on create a dashboard. Now, we need to select the data first. Click on this, and I want to select the table, and then I can go to the sales external catalog tool, and then I want to pick the sales schema, and I can see the transaction underscore data table. Click on to confirm, and it's going to be automatically queried for me. Now I can see all the columns. Now I want to generate a year column from this order date. So I can come to this tab, put in a comma, and use the year function here. Open the bracket. I can call the order date column, and I'm going to call this one as year. That's going to be the alias, and I can run this code. So we're going to see another column added for us, which is nice and easy. Now, I can come up to the canvas, and in the canvas, I can just use this visualization widget. And let's say I want to see year by sales, and click on this to use the assistant, and it's going to generate this chart for me. I can accept. Now I'm going to come to the visualization, and I want to use pivot, and this looks much better. So I can see 2015 to 2017, which is cool. Let's just create one more visual, and let me just do total sales by region. Okay, and yeah, let's just do this. Okay, accept. Yeah, so we have this to visual. Now we're not learning to create visualization, just to see how this works. So we have this ready, and I can rename this. I'm going to call this one external dashboard, and I'm going to press save. So I can publish this and click on publish. Now that's sorted. Cool. So I can come to the dashboards. I can see that here. That's cool. Now I want to go back to the provider organization that we share this data from. By the way, I'm going to come to the SQL editor first, and then I'm going to schedule the copy into command in order to be able to copy all of this when a new file comes into the volume. So I can carefully delete this part of the code. This is not needed. I can select this part of the code, and this is not needed. Now I'm going to click on save, and I'm going to schedule, and I'm going to run this every 1 minute, and I'm going to maintain all of the other settings. Click on create. So this is now created. Now I can go back to the catalog. I can go to the external catalog, sales external catalog schema. I can go to the sales schema, go to the volume, and then select this volume, upload to this volume, select the browse, and I want to import the 2018 to 2020. Let's do 2020, and then click on save, upload. So we have new data uploaded to the volume, and I can come back to the SQL query editor. Let's check the schedule. Now I'm going to wait for some couple of moments in order for the first schedule to kick off and successfully run, and then we should be able to see the newly added data. All right, so this run succeeded. Now I can expand, and under the bottom we can see a new 60 rows of data is now added to our transaction underscore data table. Now I'm going to quickly come to the catalog, and then I want to go to that same table again to check it out. So I'm going to come to the sample data, and I can set for 2018. Oops, I'm going to type in 2018 in it. So you can see we have the 2018 data, and I can check for the 2020 also. So there we go. So we have this data 2020. Now we expect that this is going to flow into the recipient organization that we establish or share this data with. Now I'm going to quickly come here, and this is the recipient. Now when I go to the catalog, and I can expand the under the Delta shares received. Click on this and I can expand the sales schema and expand the transaction data table. Now, when I come to the sample data tab and I can use the filter functionality, when I do 2018, I can see amazing. The data is actually flowing into the recipient organization so they can see this data in real time as soon as we share the data. Let's do 2020 and there we go. So this is working fine as expected. Now I'm going to come to my dashboard. Now I'm going to go to the external dashboard. So when I come back here now, of course we can schedule this, but I'm just going to trigger this. So when I click on this trigger, see what happens here. Now for now we have 2015 to 2017. When I click on this, let's see what happens. Amazing. So we can see this is actually working fine. So we can see the data for the 2018 to 2020. Now for the last time, I'm going to come here. I want to go to the volume and I want to upload more data. Let's upload the 2021 to 2025. Click on open, upload data. So this is now uploaded. I can go back to the SQL editor. I can check the schedule and let me check whether this captured the newly uploaded data. Click on that and okay, no results. Okay, so that simply means I'm going to wait for another run. So come back here and then I can click on this. So there should be one more run now. The next run will automatically capture all the data from the 2021 to the 2025. And once this is captured, we can verify from the provider side and then from the recipient dashboard and see how all of this integrates easily. So this succeeded, and when I click on that, we should be able to see 110 new records, which is fantastic. When I come to the recipient, I can come to the catalog first to check it out. Let me just do it from the dashboard anyway, because I believe it's already flowed in. So now again, we can see we have, I don't know why this actually changed it. Now I'm just going to click on this refresh or this refresh, and then we should be able to see all the data. Cool. So when I move that, there we go. So we can see all the record for the 2021, 2022, 2023 to 2025, and that is absolutely fantastic. So this is how we can architect a solution to share data using the Databricks-to-Databricks delta sharing from the provider and the recipient organization. I hope you enjoyed it. If you do, like, comment, and follow me for more videos because there's a lot to come. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.